Guys, I've been so hyped and been waiting so long for this day. She's finally here. Let's check it out together. Oh, baby.
Come to me. Closer. A little closer. Until your darkness
I don't like the voice. What's going on, guys, and welcome on in. I'm actually, besides that intro, super hyped for Archdemon Mercedes, or I should say Archdemon's Shadow. We'll go over her skills real quick. I'll give you my first impressions, kind of what I think about her, what I think a lot of people will. I'll tell you right now, I think a lot of people are going to be underwhelmed, and maybe, it's not going to fit a lot of people's play styles. So we'll go over that real fast, and then the real meat of the video, I want to go over the upcoming banners. So I'll give you a quick rundown on who's coming out, the pros and cons of each, and then I'll rate which ones I think you should pull or skip, and then who to save for, okay? So let's move on with Archdemon's Shadow. Of course, she's going to be a dark mage just like the boss in PvE. Man, guys, she looks great. They use pretty much the same exact model. And real quick, so you notice her imprints, they're shown here. For her imprints, they decided to make them available via slates or Galaxy. She'll be in the Galaxy coin shop for 40 coins. I think she'll be there permanently after she leaves the Mystic rotation, which I'm a little disappointed that they didn't come up with, I don't know, a side story or a creative way to grind imprints, maybe through the cracks in the world, but maybe that would be too powerful. Regardless, I don't think it's the worst thing. There's a few good things about it. One, I don't really think she needs imprints in general. And if you really want imprints for her, you can get them through slates. And second, if you do have those 40 coins saved up, she'll be in the shop and you can wait till people test her, pick her up later. You don't have to spend the mystics because FCC is most likely going to be rerun. And then I expect like ML Lilius or someone to come out after. So more hype stuff to come out after this boss level character, right? So let's go ahead and move on with her skills. All right, guys, first up we have Touch of Chaos, the skill 1 that has the seal mechanic. First time ever seen in Epic 7. A lot of other gacha games especially do it, but this is the first time we have it. This is the moneymaker right here. Regardless of whether or not you think her kit maybe is weak overall once we get through all the skills, the fact that she has the unique, the first time ever seal effect, I think is good enough incentive to maybe consider pulling for her. Now keep in mind though, guys, it is only a 75% chance, single target. You will have to soul burn it for it to be 100%. But it is 2 turns, and notice this part. It hits, the seal effect happens before attacking. Very, very important. It's just a kind of, it's a thing that happens on its own before you attack. So think like Flurry and Flan, right? You don't need to actually hit with it. It's separated from the damage portion, okay? Also keep in mind, it acquires 1 focus. That'll come into play in just a little bit. Let's move on to skill 2. Find it real quick. Skill 2, Twisted Power. Decreases damage suffered from a critical hit by 20%. Guys, that's a built-in adamant shield, and that kind of is indicative of maybe you probably should build her a little bit tankier, or she's designed to survive a little longer than, a cleave, fast speed, glass cannon style unit. Smilegate decided to give her some built-in survivability. On top of that, after using Touch of Chaos, the skill 1, she has a 35% chance to activate Burst. Kind of think like Broman's S1. Effect is doubled when the target is sealed. Also like Broman when he just needs silence instead of seal. So 35% chance to activate Burst, which is an AoE attack, which can decrease hit chance and also increases CR. Now, this doesn't say it gives focus, but I do think in the video, guys, please leave a comment below if this gives focus or not. When I was looking at the actual play-by-play, it does look like it gave focus, but since it doesn't say it here, I'm not sure. Regardless, this is a really cool skill. It's just kind of a passive that will just extra proc. I'm already thinking of how cool it would be to encounter, and then when we're going to look at the skill 3, guys, you can do a skill 3 and a skill 1, and it has a high chance to proc S2 if the target is sealed, or just a 1 in 3 chance if you don't have a seal. So really cool effect. Could mean that mage artifacts like Crown will be extremely strong. Violin, things like Fairy Tale Tenebria's artifact could be really good because it's AoE. So keep those in mind, right? Those major artifacts are super strong on an AoE skill that can just proc a lot. Those can really take over. After the skill 2, we have the skill 3 called Disillusion. I think this is her weakest skill, which is weird. The skill 3 to be the weakest of the kit. Look at this, guys. It consumes 5 focus, so you won't be able to use this on the first turn, I believe. You will need to use multiple S1s. Possibly, if S2 doesn't get focused, that's like 5 S1s. So I'm thinking counter build is going to be really nice. Think units like Dizzy, a counter Dizzy style, I think build would work really well on Archdemon's Shadow. So the S3 attacks all enemies with a 75% chance to inflict 2 burn effects for 2 turns. So just like Dizzy, some people actually like to build Dizzies with higher attack because she gets so many attacks off. Might as well get that extra damage in. It can't be counterattacked, and it grants an extra turn, which is huge. So she may not be able to lead with it, but when you finally build up enough focus to run it, it's really just an extra, just nice AoE damage effect that can't be countered, and it'll lead back into your S1, which can lead back into your S2. Really, really cool, but the fact that you can't use it turn 1, you're kind of just spamming S1s in the beginning, already strikes me as she's a more slower unit. She won't be super flashy until she really gets running, and there's a high chance that the seal mechanic just may not be the best in the current meta, especially with this, especially tacked onto this kind of kit, right? She has a high chance of just being slow momentum. Some games she may not just really take off, really get these S3s and S1s and S2s. She could just die out of nowhere, but I do think the S2 Adamant Shield, you will want to build her tankier. I think she will survive, and I do think the best build, just first impression, remember, anything can change from here on out, but I probably plan to build her bulkier with a counter set, and definitely in a match that I'm trying to go the distance. I'm not trying to just turn one shot an RB or a T-Surin with Extinction or sealing the S2 survivability passive on T-Surin. You can just use another Extinction unit or just use like Emma Lulika in that regard. I think she'll just slowly lock down units. She has access to extremely strong mage artifacts. And the seal mechanic, I don't know. I just think it's going to be really fun. And the chance of doing 3 skills in 1 turn, guys, and on a counter set seems super, super... I don't want to say busted, but really, really fun regardless, okay? So those are her skills, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think a lot of people, it's going to miss your playstyle. She might not seem super fun. So go ahead and just sit tight. If you weren't a huge fan of her design, which by the way, I am a huge fan. I got 2 huge reasons that I'm a fan of her design. But go ahead and wait. Let people test her. And the nice thing is you can always get her later because I do think she will be permanent in the Galaxy shop when eventually you get 40 coins, which I know is not easy to do, okay? Alright guys, moving on from the skills, let's talk about the banner rotations coming up. As you can see here, I have ready for you the 4 lovely ladies that will be coming up on the banners. Let's go ahead and start with Cermia and Celine, who will be the first 2 up, okay? Cermia, PvE monster. Some of the highest damage potential in the game, so think of things like Hall of Trials, Abyss, Dagger's Sikaar achievements, any of those really, you got to push damage and you want to get the highest score possible. Cermia is one of the best at it. She can also just be used as a general all-purpose single target for like raids and things like that. But let's talk PvE. PvP, she's more niche. You will need to probably bring like CR pushers with her, and typically she's only seen on offense for Arena and Guild Wars. She can be used in RTA. You will probably need to bring a CR pusher. If you don't, you need some insane gear. And even then, I think there's other units fit, better for that kind of role. So very, very, very strong PvE. Kind of usable on Arena offense, Guild War offense, and then not super great in RTA. Next up, we have Celine, who's kind of the opposite. Don't really see her needed anywhere for PvE, but extremely strong in PvP, especially RTA versus a very specific style of picks that your enemy will choose, which is usually cleave. Sometimes healers, soul reavers, things like that, she can do really well versus 2, but typically you see her as the premier or one of the premier anti-cleave units, right? Especially now after her exclusive equipments came out, guys. Celine is in probably the best spot she's ever been in. She looks great, but keep in mind she is pretty much a purely PvP unit. You can use her PvE, but there's way better options, basically. Okay. After that, guys, we have Vivian and Alencia, who will be after these 2. Guys, I know Alencia's finally here, but hold on, we'll get to her in just a second. First, let's talk Vivian. Guys, Vivian is amazing in both PvE and PvP. First, let's start with Banshee 13 PvE. She is one of the best at it, the premier Banshee 13 unit, along with like Baiken, because she sets up your team with the attack up, and then she also can also cleave the entire wave herself, meaning you can do 3-man Banshee 13 one-shots. You can do 2 defense breakers that don't have to worry about clearing the wave. And she's also good. She could be a farmer with, like, let's say Time Matter, but realistically it's really just for the hunts. And then I guess you could also use her in certain raids and other PV content. But really, it's Banshee 13. If you plan to farm that soon for some counter, for Archdemon Mercedes, or for some lifesteal gear, look at picking up a Vivian if you don't already have. There are other options, guys. You could use another, the 2 or 3 turn attack ups like DN. But Vivian is the best at it because she can also double down as the cleaver for the wave. On top of that, guys, the only artifact I'll mention is hers because the rest are just okay. Vivian's Dignus Orb is very, very, very good for both her and Luluka. Emma Luluka, probably the best in slot for her at least. You can use Chatty as like a backup, but really you really want the Dignus Orb, and multiple copies, of course, just make it even better in terms of her survivability. It's the best chance to get it. It does seem kind of rare. It doesn't seem to pop up in the powder shop too often. So if you look at getting Vivian, make sure you also try to get a copy of the Dignus Orb, aka Dingus Orb. After that, guys, let's talk about Alencia. Finally, she's arrived. The honorary limited. It seems like they were waiting for the side story, right? Or excuse me, they're waiting for the next chapter of the return to Wintenburg, the dragon area, to bring her side story, because I guess she's a major player in the current events. Regardless, she's finally here. Let me talk real fast. PvE, you can use her, I guess, whenever you want, but really she's a more of a PvP unit. Strong in arenas and guild wars. Also can be used on defense on those, but typically she's most known for her RTA potential. In seasons past, she was like a first pick, possibly pre-ban, just highly contested unit. Nowadays, she almost never is first pick. She's almost never pre-banned or anything like that, but she's still very strong regardless. Still like a solid pick, near the higher end of the tier list in my opinion, because she has everything you need, right? If you like that bruiser playstyle, you need a defense up unit that also strips, that can also defense break and just kind of clean up a match on her own. She does everything. There's just a lot more units that have come out recently, so she's fallen off a tiny bit, but don't let that dissuade you. She's still super strong, and yeah, I think she is a good pickup if you need her. Now, before I go ahead and rate all 4 of these, keep in mind, guys, we still have Diane and Cerise potentially coming out. It looks like Diane may not be coming because we only have... It's already, what, a week into January. They haven't said anything. And Cerise is going to be coming out probably February. So Diane might be skipped around, or skipped this time around for Cerise. Diane might be skipped around for Cerise. Cerise, you definitely want to save enough bookmarks for her and her artifact. Guys, she is absolutely insane. Both her and Guiding Light are must-haves. Even if they weren't, they are limited. So you do want to prioritize her over any 4 of these, regardless of power levels. Because limiteds are just, you know, you have to get the limiteds. But beyond Cerise, though, I'm going to go ahead and rate Vivian number 1 because of her strong PvE and PvP potential. Number 2, I'll put Alencia just because if we're talking purely PvP, she's, you know, higher up on a tier list than these other 2. I think we just put Cermia and Celine as the 3rd, kind of tied. Really depends on what you want. If you've been wanting either of these 2, you know, just pick which one after Cerise, of course. And then, you know, like I said, Cermia, very strong PvE usually. And Celine, if you really need that PvP counter pick versus cleave. Alright, guys. Anyways, start saving those bookmarks. Let me know if you're pulling for Archdemon Mercedes and what you think about her, okay? Please leave it in the comments section below. I love to hear from y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, y'all.